I am manifesting this year to be my most elite year I've ever had. Meaning I'm getting richer, hotter, and full of energy unlike any other year that I've ever had in the past. This is literally every single thing that I am doing to make sure of that. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I am officially back from Costa Rica. I want to get the inside scoop into what I'm doing, how I'm making this happen and everything. Well, you are going to love this. Go grab your matcha, go on your hot girl walk. I do have my matcha, I just made it before this episode. And let's just get into it. When I think of an elite year, it requires momentum. And movement is what sets things in motion, right? Meaning momentum truly requires actual real movement in order for bigger momentum to happen and also bigger energy to manifest itself within you and all around you. And so this means that I am planning to go really hardcore within my hot girl Pilates era this year. I feel like last year was kind of the year where I was getting back into working out again and everything. And now it's like, okay, let's get actually hotter, and not just hotter in this physical sense, but also in the mental sense of, how this sets up momentum, how this sets up my energy, and how much more of a bad bitch I feel just starting every single day. I'm literally going out of my way to work out, to feel hotter, to sweat. And a quote that I really, really love and adore is that the more hard shit you do, the easier it gets to do more hard shit. And this perfectly ties into it, right? Because movement is what sets things in motion. And so not just being able to do things physically that are hard and very committed, but again, ripples effect. And this elite year will definitely require out of me doing a lot more hard shit, much more than I've ever had in any other year. And so this is why this part of my plan is going to be so important, and definitely something that I'm going to be super consistent with, and that is going to be unlike any other year that I've ever done this before. When you want more momentum, when you want more things attracted to you, this lives within movement, within how you move in the world, but also within your body and how it sets your energy and every single thing, it's all linked together. I could go on forever about this. Now, next thing is that hot girls love rejection. This is a mindset that I'm definitely bringing into my elite year, okay? Getting at least 3 no's a week. So meaning that I will have to literally go out of my way to put myself in a situation where I would get a no. But hopefully I get a yes. Why I'm doing this is more so to stretch not only my comfort zone, but my audacity zone, right? Because the more your audacity can grow, more you can reach for bigger things that almost seems kind of out of reach for where you're at, for your reality in a way. Cranking up that audacity, it not only signals to myself, holy shit, this is a match for me and I can go out there and get a no or get a yes. But I can put myself in that situation in the first place, no matter the circumstances, no matter what, it doesn't matter. I get to put myself in the situation because I choose to. But also it signals to the universe and every single thing around you that these things are within your reach. And so when I think of an elite year, it does require stretching out of your comfort zone, much more than anything ever. And this is why for me, getting hotter does require rejection and to love rejection. And now obviously I'm not doing this to get more no's, but I'm doing this to crank up my audacity and, who knows, I might just get a bunch of yes, what kind of situation I'm going to put myself in order to, really grow this love for rejection or for just embracing that audacity and having that audacity and not taking it so seriously either. This is definitely going to be an exciting challenge for me to go and conquer and do. I want to keep all of you updated on. I feel that like if I was on the other end of that, I would kind of want to see like the update of the progress within that. And now, speaking of comfort zone, an elite year does require ditching any sort of short-term reward for scalability, right? So is it scalable? What's scalable? If it's not scalable, then it doesn't belong in my elite year. And for me, doing a complete audit and truly looking at every facet of how I run my business, or even my offers and my mentorships and stuff like that, and looking at like, okay, what isn't scalable and what just isn't a match for my elite year. And an elite year also does require me to let go of certain clients. I'm truly at this point in my business where I need to be picky with who I choose to work with, but also the level that they are playing at, or the level that they are willing to step up to. I can confidently say that the more someone is skilled and knowledgeable within their niche or their field or whatever their business is around, it does make my job as the brand strategist, the brand creative, it makes my job so much easier, because my job is basically to amplify, the skill that's already there, the knowledge that's already there, make it feel magnetic and like a non-brainer, and really bring clarity in terms of the personal brand and making it as a top personal brand that's like a true no-brainer, right? And so the more the person is skilled, the more the person is knowledgeable, the easier it is for me to come in and be like, okay, this is how you can deliver it. This is how this match the brand that you are wanting to build and the clientele that you know exactly who they are, that we are going to call them in. Like, you know what I mean? It makes my job easier as the amplifier and as the marketer. That is definitely like one of the distinctions that I personally had to make. And now, of course, when I think of manifesting this elite year, this year where it's like we're getting hotter, we're getting richer, we're getting like pumped with energy and everything, it does require a lot of intention. This definitely requires a lot more mental energy. I don't know how to explain it other than that, but it's truly always every single day being like, okay, where am I operating from and how do I want to operate every single day? I cannot be looking at this year within, what's it within my range? What makes sense? No, it cannot be like that. It has to be like, let's be almost delusional, or almost like it doesn't make sense, or almost like, you know what I mean? Because I'm not making this like any other year that I've had before. And I have manifested a lot throughout the years. And this year, since I am choosing it to be my most elite year, like I have to crank up what I believe is within my range, what I believe is within my timeline. I need to challenge that. And so every single day when I wake up, I have to ask myself, like, where am I operating from? And where do I want to be operating from? And does it require any kind of adjustment from my part, of adjustment of belief, of energy, of how I'm feeling, of how I'm looking at things, of my patience, or even like the time gap that I'm putting myself? Like, do I need any adjustment? And this is why I think it really requires being a lot more intentional, and like literally every single day, being so intentional every single day, and not every single week, but literally looking at it from a day-to-day basis. And I have never done this on a day-to-day basis before, but I will have to do that now. I will need to do a check-in within my intention, within how I'm operating, within every single aspect. And that requires a lot more commitment. And so I want to do this in a way that like feels amazing to me, so that it's not draining, but it's actually amplifying my energy. And actually, like, I'm enjoying this, you know, I'm enjoying this because I'm like, okay, I'm doing this because it's getting me hotter, richer, full of energy, all the things. And in correlation to that, okay, holding more does require more rest too. Now, I have had to learn this the hard way, removing all of the guilt that came with me resting, because for so many years I would kind of rest, but like kind of half-ass my rest. And then when I came to work again or take clients on and everything, it was like I wasn't 100%, right? Because I would kind of half-ass my rest. And so then it did that, like I would push to 200% when I was with my clients or when I was like doing my work. It felt like 200%, but it wasn't 200% because I would always half-ass my rest. And so an elite year for me also does require me to rest without any guilt, because that guilt was never coming from me in the first place. It never came from me in the first place. And my body knows when it needs rest, and I need to trust that. And I do trust that now, making it so that I get to have more energy and I get more done, and it's easier to reach my goal a lot faster because I'm not half-assing the period of time that I actually need to rest, that is actually dedicated to rest, and where I'm not pretending to rest and then doing a bunch of shit that like are making me feel productive type of thing. Like I'm actually resting. And so that is also part of the plan. For me, getting richer, okay, within this is like the elite rich kind of field, okay, that like we're reaching this year. It is never going to be about working harder. Not to say that I'm not going to do hard shit, not to say that I'm not super dedicated to my work and I'm not going to put in the work. But what I am saying is that it is about better money and not working harder in that way. The lens in which I am making every decision in terms of that, who I decide that I don't want to work with, even if they were to throw their wallet at me, because I truly want my space to be very intentional and very much, how can I repel even more than I am right now? And, you know, and kind of like building a strategy around that and creating boundaries around that, and also openly marketing that also creates the other side of the coin, which is that the women that will feel an even deeper connection with me, that will feel even more called, right? Because this space is deeply intentional, and also putting across like the value as a premium business definitely is never going to be like a regular business who is not on a premium standpoint or a premium rate. Very different approach there. This really comes down to mastery, which for me is content, top personal branding, and also messaging, right? Like these are my forte. These are going to truly be my focus when I'm putting my foot forward. Now, next up, let's talk about richer energy. Okay, when I'm thinking of richer energy, I mean rich in the sense of, yes, money, but also richer in the sense of energy and capacity. You know, how much you're able to hold, how much you're able to do, not like having a plate that's like with a bunch of shit falling off, but more so having such high energy, okay? And so this for me comes down to not only protecting my time, but protecting my creativity and also protecting my nervous system. And I'm truly at this stage within my life where I have had to be so much more intentional about who has access to me. And I've always thought myself as someone very intentional with that. But this past year has really tested me, and I've realized that I had to be even more intentional. And this is exactly why I've been spending so much more time alone now, because my standard have changed a lot, I would say. And my energy just has expanded because of it. You know, I can sit here and say that I have had to let some people go that were in my life, and I realized you can't be in here anymore. Like you know what I mean? And this is also the energy that I'm bringing into this elite year. But also, I want also to bring the reverse side of this, which is, you know, who is a match? Who is even more of a match now? I'm so intentional with the access that I let people have within my life and the amount of time that they can also have to me and to my energy. When I'm thinking of also protecting my time, it's not only, you know, what I allocate to my work and my clients and my business, but also what I allocate to recharging and getting that creativity flow within me, because my work does require me to be very creative, you know. So how am I always keeping this creative flow going? And this also ties in with it, you know, having real rest, but also having real creativity and not consuming and how much I'm consuming other people's content, or, you know, things like that. Because I know myself, and I know that I'm at my most creative when I'm just in my head living life and like expanding my life. That's when I get the most creative. That's when my energy expand the most. And so that is definitely going to be my priority into this elite year that I'm manifesting. Next up, I'm also being very intentional within how I speak. Fewer filler words, less swearing. I know that I swear, you know, it's apparent that I swear, but I want it to be on purpose when I want to emphasize certain things, and also paying attention to my tone and my pace and just my presence, because I feel like the way that you speak truly impacts your presence. Every single conversation or everything that I say kind of becomes part of this energy that I'm bringing to life and that I am expanding into, and that I'm creating this elite year around and manifesting. And so I need to bring that next level of standard within my vocabulary, because it directly ties into my presence. And I feel like this is not really something that a lot of people think about. I don't know if you've noticed, but within this episode, I have had fewer filler words. And also considering that English is not really my first language, I feel like it's going to be easier for me to adapt rather than in French. I do use a lot of filler words in French and I hate it, but that's for another time. Now, finally, the energy that is all surrounding me is what truly sets the match, you know, for manifesting this elite year. This requires a lot more intention than any other year that I've ever had before within every aspect, right? Bringing that heat back up into my comfort zone. And so this is truly every single thing that I am planning to manifest my most elite year, richer, hotter, and full of energy. And I want to leave you with this little note, you know, think of what would it require out of you to make 2026 your most elite year, right? Like, what would it require out of you specifically? Because yes, this is what it requires out of me, but perhaps you have different things, or perhaps you need to be intentional with different aspect or different things. And so this is going to be a little homework for this week to think about and to marinate on and be like, okay, what does it require out of me to bring this as my most elite year? Because I'm telling you, 2026, I am not playing. It is going to be absolutely phenomenal. I've never felt more excited for a year. Like, I'm telling you, there's so much stuff. Oh my God, it's going to be amazing. And so I leave you with that note. I hope you absolutely adored listening to this conversation. If you did, make sure to share it with someone, share it with a friend, or post it on your story and tag me. I love to see what you are up to while you are tuning in, and I'll be happy to repost it on my story and tag you. And with all that said, I will see you next week. Stay amazing. Thanks so much for tuning in, and don't forget to leave your 5-star rate and review on the podcast. I love to know what you guys think of the episodes, and I will meet you here next week.